In this video, learn about data frame, its attributes and methods. So we discussed what is a data frame. It is a two-dimensional tabular data, like a table with rows and columns. It is having some built-in attributes and methods that actually extends the functionality of data frame. The following are the attributes and methods that we'll be discussing with live running examples. Dtypes to return the current data type of the data frame. Okay, like which column is having which data type. ndim will return the dimensions. For size, we'll be using the size attribute. For returning the dimensions, we'll be using the shape attribute. To get the index attribute will be used. Also, to get the transpose of rows and columns, we'll be using the t property. For methods, we can return the first n rows using the head method, the last n rows using the tail method. So let us see the examples. The first example, first we will create a data frame using the data frame method, and then we will get the data types of each and every column using the dtypes. So let's see the example. Here's our open source PyCharm community edition. So let us create a new project. Go to file, new project, name the project. Okay, Pandas DataFrame attributes and methods. Click create, and the location is the following for our project. Click create. Now it got created. Okay, now we are having 8 examples. So I'll be creating the files. Let us begin with the first file. Right click here, new Python file. Enter the name of the file. When I'll press enter, it will automatically add the .py extension because the Python file is by default selected. And here is the demo1.py. Similarly, create the rest of the 7 files. Right click new Python file. So here are our 8 files. Let us add the comments here using the hash. Let me add it. Let us begin with the data frame dtypes attribute that will return the data types in the data frame. For that, I'll first import pandas. This is an alias so that we don't need to mention pandas again and again. Now let us create a data set. Create a data object, and within that add your data. I'll be adding 3 columns: student, add the records, let's say I'm adding records of 5 students. Okay, now add the rank for the new column, comma, and then press enter, and within that add rank. Now add marks. Of each student. Now we will create a data frame using the data frame method. We will add our own index using the index argument. So df pd, that is pandas dot data frame. Within that add the data, comma, index argument to add our own indexes. That's it. Within this, add your rows. Let's say I'll be adding row A, row B, row. So we have added the 5 rows. Now let me print the records. Just mention the data frame name, object, and you can also add a text here. Student records. Add new lines using 2/n's, 2 new lines. Now the data types using dataframe.dtypes, print. Okay, we have used the dtypes attribute. File, save all. Right click, run demo1. Herein you can check that we have the data types here. For student, both were integers, so the following is visible in 64, and here it is. Using the dtypes attribute, we can return the data types. In the second example, we will be returning the number of dimensions of the data frame using the ndim attributor property. Let's see the example. Demo 2. We will be using the ndim attribute to display the dimensions, that is, return the number of dimensions of the data frame. Import pandas as PD. PD is an alias. Now let us add the data set. Let us get from here. Okay. So we have a data set now, data, with 3 columns and 5 records. Student rank marks. We have created a data frame using the data frame method. We have added the data here and our own index. We have displayed the student records. Okay, we have displayed the data frame. Now we need to get the number of dimensions. For that, use dataframe.ndim. That's it. Number of dimensions. Okay. You can also add a new line here. Save all. Right click, run demo 2. Here it is. We have student records, 3 columns, 5 records. Obviously it's of 2 dimensions. That's why it's in a table. It's in a table like form, that is a matrix form. Now let us see the third example. We'll be getting the size of the data frame, that is the number of elements in the data frame. Okay, using the size attribute. Let's see. So here it is, pandas data frame size attribute to get the number of elements in the data frame. Okay, first import your pandas and create an alias. Now within that, add the data set. Let me take from here. Okay, we will also display the data set. Here is our data with 3 columns and 5 records. We have added our data to the data frame object here, and we have also set up our own indexes using the index parameter, and we have printed the data frame. Get the number of elements in the data frame using data frame dot size. Okay, that's it. Print it. We can add a text here, message, number of elements. Okay, and a new line also here also. File, save all, right click and display it. Run demo. First we have printed our student records and the number of elements in it. So this is having 15 elements, right? 1 2 3 6. Calculate from here. 15 elements. 1 2 3 4 5. So it has displayed the number of elements. Now let us see the fourth example. We will get the shape of the data frame, that is to return the dimensions of the data frame in the form of a tuple. You can use the shape attribute. Let's see the example. Here it is, the shape attribute. Let me import the pandas. Import pandas as pd. We have created an alias. Now the data set. I'll take it from here again. Our 5 records, student records, 3 columns, student rank marks, and 5 records. We have displayed the data frame using the data frame method, and within that we have entered our data set and our own index. Now to get the shape, use df, that is data frame dot shape attribute. That's it, and just print it. You can also add a message and 2 new lines. Now I'll go to file, save all, right click and run demo 4. Here it is, the shape is here. 5 rows and 3 columns. 5 comma 3 means 5 rows 3 columns. So we have printed the dimensions also using the shape attribute. Now let us see the next example. In this example we will display the index of the data frame using the index attribute. Let us see the example. Here is the example for pandas data frame index attribute. Import pandas as pd and add the data set so that we can display the index only. Herein we have created an index using the index argument. Here it is, our data and our index is here. We added the data in our data frame using the data frame method, and we were having 5 records and 3 columns. We need to just display the indexes. For that, use data frame dot index, print. That's it. Data frame index, file, save all, right click, run demo 5. You can see all the indexes are visible. These were our indexes: row A, row B, row C, row D and row E. row A, row B, row C, row D and row E. These are visible here, and we have printed it separately using the index attribute. Now let us see the next example. In this example, we'll be getting the transpose of the rows and columns, and we will also understand what it is using the here it is pandas DataFrame T attribute. Let us import pandas and create an alias. Now add the dataset. Here is our data, and we have added the data in the DataFrame method and the index also using the index attribute. Under the data we have our 3 columns and 5 rows. 5 rows will display the 5 records, and we have printed the data frame. We created a data frame using the data frame method and printed. Now we need to just get the transpose. Transpose is the opposite. Okay, that is rows and columns will get converted to columns and rows. For that, use df.t and print it. You can also add a text here for more clarity, and I've also added a new line before and after. That's it. Right click, run demo. So now you can check here. The result is completely opposite. Okay, this was our actual data frame and the result is the following. Columns are in the place of rows and rows are in the place of columns. This is how we can display transpose using the T attribute. In the next example, we'll be working on the methods of data frame in pandas. That is the first one beginning with the head. Okay. If we will use the following head method, it will display the first n rows. That means by default it will display the first 5 rows. And if you'll mention any value within the head method as a parameter, then that number of rows will be returned. Let's see an example. Here it is, head method. Let us import pandas and add an alias also, pd. Okay, now let us create a dataset. I am creating a dataset here. We have 3 columns and 5 rows. I'll add more to it for this example. Okay, I've added one more. Okay, now we have 6 records of 6 students with 3 columns, that is student name, rank and marks. Okay, and we need to also add this for the additional record. That's it, we have printed it. We will return the first 5 rows by just using the head method because it displays the first 5 rows by using only the head method. Okay, print data frame dot head first 5 rows. It will print by default. This looks fine. Okay, now I'll just go to right click and run demo 7. Here and you can see we were having 6 records now, and it displayed only the 5 rows, the first 5, not the F1. Why? Because we have used only the head method. Now you can also change it. Let's say I'll just mention first 2 rows and 2 inside the parameter. and herein we have only displayed the first two one. Why? Because I have mentioned 2 under head. Here we have displayed the top n rows using head method and the top 2 rows using head method only, but with the parameter values. That's it. Now let us see the next example. We just saw how to get the top n rows. So to get the last n rows, use the tail method and the same concept. Okay. Let's see the example. We will print the top 5 rows using the tail method, and we will also add a parameter under the tail method to get specific number of rows. Let's see. Here is our pandas DataFrame tail method. Let us import pandas first and add an alias PD. Now set the dataset. Let me take the following. I have displayed the dataset here. 3 columns: student, rank, marks, and records of 6 students with the student name, rank, and marks. And we have displayed the data frame using the data frame method. Within that, we added the data here, from here, and the specific index names. After that, we have displayed the data frame using the following print method. Now let me display the last n rows. df.tail print using the print method. Last 5 rows. Okay, you can now mention last 5 rows here because by default it will display 5 rows. Run demo 8. Here it is. So this was our actual data frame with 6 rows, but we have displayed the last 5 rows. Okay, to display it properly, I just forgot the slash n here. Right click, run demo 8. Here it is visible now. Now let me display, let's say, last 2 rows. What I'll do, I'll just mention 2. Here it is, last 2 rows are visible, E and F will be visible. Okay, if you'll see your exact row, here it is, E and F are visible here. In this video, we saw how we can work around the data frame attributes and method. We saw all these 8 examples to understand the concept properly. Thank you for watching the video.